don't you join me in Recreation Room 6, Deck 3?
You got a deal, friend.
Hey, it's Janelle Waz, and welcome back to another episode of Treknalysis. Sorry, Charlie, we're talking Charlie X today.
Say, sorry, Charlie.
Charlie X, the episode where a moody teenager takes over the Enterprise and terrorizes everyone on board. Even Spock got his legs broken by some snot-nosed kid because the girl he likes wouldn't go with him to prom. Honestly, this is such a teenager plot that it could almost be on the Disney Channel. Charlie's a typical teenager, trying to fit in, ask his crush out, but he also has godlike powers.
Everything I do or say is wrong. I'm in the way. I don't know the rules.
Charlie?
Charlie X. Now, I wanted to talk about this episode for a couple of reasons. For one thing, I need to cover more episodes outside of TNG on Treknalysis. I have a whole list of TNG episodes I want to talk about, but no, not yet. I have to talk about the other Treks too. I also spent the last couple of videos talking about teenage custody battles, and while this isn't a custody battle per se, it does raise the question of the best place for Charlie, a teenager, to live. But most importantly, I wanted to talk about this episode because Thanksgiving was yesterday, and this is an actual line in the episode.
On Earth today, it's Thanksgiving. If the crew has to eat synthetic meatloaf, I want it to look like turkey.
So, it's appropriate. So gather round the burned replicated bird meat, or leftovers, as we talk about an early Star Trek episode about an awkward teenage boy with fantastic powers, as well as Kirk's magnificent physique. Any excuse to show Shirtless Kirk. This is Charlie X.
Growing up isn't so much. I'm not a man and I can do anything.
But before I go further, make sure you subscribe to my channel. I talk a lot about Star Trek, video games, and whatever else I feel like talking about. And if you'd like to help support the channel, consider becoming a member. Be great to have you aboard. The Enterprise is meeting up with the cargo ship Antares, which is a pretty cool name for a cargo ship, not gonna lie. Kirk heads to the transporter room to meet the captain and first officer of the Antares, wearing a lovely long-sleeve green crossover shirt with gold trim, showing a respectable amount of cleavage becoming of a captain of the Enterprise.
I'm too sexy for my shirt, too sexy for my shirt.
Also beaming aboard is a teenage boy, Charlie Evans, the sole survivor of a ship that crashed 14 years ago, who managed to survive on his own since he was 3. Kind of an impressive feat. The plan is for the Enterprise to take Charlie to live with his closest relatives on Colony 5. And Charlie on first glance seems like a typical teenager.
Wonderful boy, Charlie.
So, that's totally normal. Did Kirk completely miss that? I mean, they were all dead silent and awkward until Charlie did that weird eye thing and they start talking about how wonderful he is. Kirk, however, is unfazed by Charlie and is even a little annoyed that he constantly interrupts him while he's trying to talk to these lovely, totally not under any influence people.
You keep interrupting, Mr. Evans. That's considered wrong.
I mean, okay, the kid's been on his own for 14 years. He doesn't know the social cues. I can cut him some slack. But crap that eye thing! Right from the start, from the ominous music to the eye thing, there's something going on with Charlie. Puberty! Yes, clearly this is a sign of Charlie growing up and noticing Yeoman Rand's bum and not some bizarre influence he has on the Antares crew. Totally normal, totally normal.
Are you a girl?
You never seen a woman before?
I thought I had.
Well, McCoy gives Charlie a physical and confirms he's perfectly healthy and totally normal, totally normal. In fact, the episode makes a point of saying how healthy Charlie is despite living alone for most of his life.
But has grown to intelligent, healthy adolescence.
But has he, though? I mean, ignoring the eye thing, sure, he's physically fine, but can we really call it healthy adolescence if he's had next to no socialization with anyone? Also, everyone's treating this like it's another taxi job. Just transport the unsocialized boy to his family. I know counselors aren't really a thing in the original series, but it seems like someone with specialized training should be involved with this. Maybe I'm just overthinking it.
Do you like me?
Why not?
I'm trying to make people like me. I want them to like me.
Why? People are overrated.
Does everybody in the world have to like you?
Yes! Yes! Everybody has to like me. I must be liked.
But Charlie is determined to win the respect and admiration of everyone around him by uncomfortably staring at them while they work. Yeah, that's how you're gonna make friends and influence people. Getting in everyone's way!
See you in the rec room, huh?
You got a deal, friend.
All right.
Ah yes, a smack on the bum. The perfect way to make friends. What could possibly go wrong?
Got a deal, friend.
Oh, hell no! Charlie, women don't like being smacked on the butt.
But really, they're not entitled hands on the butt.
I mean, there are entire self-defense classes for this kind of situation. Janice would be well within her rights to...
That's my purse! I don't know you!
Heck, do that to the wrong woman and you'll probably wake up next week. Do you want to try that on Major Kira, Chuck?
Just don't go around slapping girls on the...
So Charlie misunderstood that earlier interaction between two friendly co-workers. I don't know if that's how men act towards each other, but... Okay. What's a smack on the butt between friends? Seriously, as a lady, I'm thoroughly confused by this behavior. But a guy doing that to a woman on the other hand? Oh, hell no.
Why don't you tell Captain Kirk or Dr. McCoy what you did, and they'll explain it to you, okay?
Just don't ask Quark about it, alright?
I could probably think better without your hand on my thigh.
Now, how did that get there?
Coincidentally, on the bridge, Kirk and Bones are arguing who's going to give Charlie the talk. You know the talk I'm talking about.
Well, don't you think it'd be better for a strong father image like you? He already looks up to you. The job is yours, Bo. Flattery will get you nowhere.
Yeah, no one wants to touch that one with a 10-foot pole. But the question is, who's better on that subject? Do you go with Kirk, who has more experience with the ladies, or with McCoy, who at some point was married and had a kid? Or do we pull Riker out of a time hole and teach Charlie how to pick up Guinan?
You are the heart in my day and the soul in my night.
I don't think this is my style. Shut up, kid.
Later on, Uhura sings in the rec room where everyone just wants to relax while Spock plays his little harp. Also, Uhura's borderline hitting on Spock through song, which was kind of a thing earlier in the show that really didn't go anywhere.
Why don't you tell me I'm an attractive young lady?
But the musical stylings of Uhura turn to Charlie and Janice.
His first embrace, he's saving it for you.
Okay, not cool, Uhura. Does she know? Did word of Charlie's slap-happy moment make it to the bridge? Just how far does Uhura's communication council go? Well, Charlie's had enough of that, so he stares down Uhura and Spock and makes her lose her voice and Spock's lyre to just stop working.
Now do classical gas!
Charlie picks up a simple deck of cards and does a little card trick for Janice. Oh, the cards turn into random photos that Janice doesn't remember taking? Totally normal! Totally normal. I knew it! Janice was cheating at poker all along. Anyone gonna ask about how the card got into her blouse? Like, I get sleight of hand as a thing, but how? And do we need to call the police? No, they're just gonna applaud Mr. Popular and his totally not creepy card trick. Meanwhile...
On Earth today, it's Thanksgiving. If the crew has to eat synthetic meatloaf, I wanted to look like turkey.
Happy belated Thanksgiving, everyone. Charlie finds Kirk and... Well, you remember when Kirk and Bones were arguing who was going to tell Charlie about the facts of life? You know, being a growing young lad and all. Well, Kirk just pulled the short straw.
Well, I did that to her.
Watch it. Now, to be fair to Charlie, he's been alone almost his entire life, so obviously he doesn't know and or understand social niceties like everyone else on board. Don't interrupt people while they're talking, don't check Janice's temperature. This isn't like Sonny Clemens in the neutral zone patting Beverly's bum. He should know better because that was even frowned upon in the 20th century where he came from. Charlie, on the other hand, simply doesn't know the rules. They're not instinctual and need to be taught. It's a whole nature versus nurture kind of thing. The problem is that no one's explaining to him why it's wrong or rude or just plain creepy. And just to be clear, it doesn't excuse the behavior. Charlie's hand shouldn't be a wandering around. But no one's doing anything to correct the problem. Janice didn't want to explain it, which, to be honest, I can't really blame her. It probably would be better coming from a man. So she passes it off to Kirk or McCoy. But then Kirk gets past the question, and he still doesn't explain it.
I mean, man to man is one thing. But man and woman,
But why is it wrong, Captain? And I get it, it's a tough conversation to have, and nobody wants to talk about it. But it's a conversation that needs to happen, and it needs to be direct so Charlie clearly understands why that behavior is frowned upon. Instead, Charlie's even more confused about social interactions.
do you understand?
I don't know.
Great job, Captain! Also, it just occurred to me that this scene was referenced in Futurama.
Well, there's no right way to hit a woman.
There's no right way to hit a woman.
Then do it the wrong way.
Fine.
Oh, and I guess the Antares just blew up. Charlie? You know anything about this? Oh, what would he know? He's a...
It wasn't very well constructed.
I beg your pardon?
I beg your pardon.
Sir, I put meatloaf in the ovens. There's turkeys in there now. Real turkeys.
Did he remember the stuffing and mashed potatoes? Charlie, don't fail me! Now, up to this point in the episode, even though ominous music plays when the focus is on Charlie, his antics seem fairly innocuous and mostly related to social misunderstandings. Well, except whatever influence he had over the captain and XO of the Antares. But things just took a darker turn. Now there's an entire ship that blew up, and Charlie seems to know something about it. An idea that Spock even proposes over a game of chess. One night in Bangkok, the world's your oyster. Kirk dismisses the idea as Charlie walks in and wants to play chess as well, so Kirk leaves him in the capable hands of Mr. Spock, who absolutely obliterates him.
Checkmate.
No, it isn't.
Honestly, me whenever I get a game over screen. Well, there's an excess of emotion in the room, so Spock uncomfortably walks away. Just for Charlie to melt the chess pieces with his mind. Totally normal teenage behavior, am I right? Meanwhile, poor Janice tries to make a last-ditch effort to get Charlie to leave her alone by introducing him to another poor yeoman, Tina. Way to throw your coworker under the bus there, Jan.
I thought you might enjoy meeting someone your own age.
Can I talk to you? Alone.
Tina, don't be upset. You probably just dodged a bullet. Charlie isn't interested in Tina. After all, she's just a girl, and Janice...
You smell like a girl.
And I love the smell of other people's hair.
Don't be like this, me.
Yeah, this kid's got it bad. You know, if only there was a strong man who could talk to him about women.
I've already talked to him about the SWAT.
No, you didn't. You mumbled your way through a jumbled mess of words thinking that counted as explaining it to him. Heck, you even asked him if he understood, and he said, I don't know.
Do you understand?
I don't know.
Does that sound like he understood, Jim? Oh, where's Bones? Maybe he'll do a better job of explaining this. Janice would rather not have to hurt Charlie. This is a delicate time for him. After all, she's his first crush. Kirk agrees to talk to him, though he's a little amused by this whole thing. Is there an HR department we can talk to? Kirk goes to have a man-to-man talk with Charlie the close talker about Janice.
Everything I do or say is wrong.
Yep, he's definitely a teenager, all right. Kirk has the conversation he probably should have had when the bum smack initially happened. It's not just about how Charlie feels, but the girl's feelings also matter. Go slow, and if the girl feels the same way, he'll know. Just not Janice. I do like that Kirk tells Charlie he's not the only one that feels this way, that everyone goes through this, and he'll get through it all right. It's an important lesson for any teenager to learn. But Charlie's still got Janice on the brain. Guy, you're 17 and she's probably 25. It's just not gonna work.
There are a million things in this universe you can have, and there are a million things you can't have. It's no fun facing that, but that's the way things are.
Well, Charlie's pretty despondent, but Kirk has an idea to make him feel better. The gym! Work out! Become manly men! Yeah! Shirtless Kirk! Kylo Ren, eat your heart out. Kirk tries to teach Charlie how to fight, which amounts to Charlie not wanting to learn the basics and attempting to kick Kirk while sparring with the weakest kicks I've ever witnessed.
Don't laugh at me!
So, Kirk's kind of worried now. Bones, you want to handle this? Kirk calls security to send Charlie to his quarters, which Charlie fights off, and oh no, it's the battle of the eye lighting.
Go to your quarters or I'll pick you up and carry you there.
Now, Spock's had a theory throughout the episode that Charlie did not in fact survive on his own, but was instead raised by the Thasians who, legend has it, lived on the planet Charlie was found on eons ago. In fact, they had similar powers to what Charlie seems to possess.
He's a boy in a man's body.
Well, so was Lion-O, but he didn't pull this shit. We have a teenager here with no social skills, one hell of a short temper, doesn't want to be told he's wrong, has no value for human life, powers to melt chess pieces and make people disappear on command, and he has all this power with absolutely no discipline to use it wisely.
We're fine. We're all fine here now, thank you. How are you?
Oh, and he's admitted to destroying the Antares because they weren't nice to him.
They wanted to get rid of me.
Gee, I wonder why! And so Charlie begins his rampage across the Enterprise, which ranges from teenage hijinks to straight up blowing shit up. Cutting off communication, blowing up Uhura's console, forcing Spock to recite poetry like he's constipated.
Once upon a midnight dreary, while I pondered weak and weary.
He even sent poor Tina to Warp 10! And, oh no.
I only want to be nice to you.
Oh no. Charlie's a nice guy. If you have to tell someone you're a nice guy, you're not. Janice hits the intercom, which is just enough for Kirk and Spock to bolt in and get tossed around with Charlie, acting like the only force ability he knows is force push. And then Janice does what she probably should have done from the first moment Charlie got fresh. And she's gone.
I loved her, but she wasn't nice at all.
All right, Charlie. It's not like your actions are to blame. It's never you, is it? It's always her. You know, if the Thasians did indeed raise him, great job!
No. No laughing!
Oh joy, the fun police have arrived.
My legs. They're broken.
Breaking Spock's legs, and he can make people go away? Charlie's in the Mafia now?
I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
Oh, that's just nightmare fuel. Even Q has more self-control than this, and he kidnapped Picard and made him dress up like Robin Hood.
I'm not from Nottingham.
Meanwhile, there's a mysterious message that's being blocked, and Kirk's had enough. While Kirk isn't particularly immune to Charlie, he figures Charlie has to be overreaching himself in order to maintain control of the ship. So let's turn on all the lights and beef up that electricity bill. Every light, every easy bake oven, hair dryers, all the lava lamps.
Warehouse, farmhouse, hen house, outhouse, or doghouse.
Even the singing Santa Claus.
Jingle bell rock.
And with a final eye battle, a healthy dose of shattering, and about 5 milliseconds from Kirk punching a teenager in the face, Charlie loses just enough control to allow the message to go through, Janice to reappear in her nightgown on the bridge, and a green wispy cloud and head to arrive.
I am I, the great and powerful.
Yes, the Thasians did indeed raise Charlie, and again, good job raising him. And they didn't realize that Charlie got away from them. While they were too late to save the Antares, they arrived just in time to save the Enterprise and take Charlie back, who's throwing a full-blown temper tantrum right now, begging not to go back with the Thasians.
You said you were my friends, remember?
Yeah, well, friends don't flip out on friends because a girl you like didn't like that you smacked her on her bum. And yet, in spite of everything that's happened, Kirk does make a plea for Charlie. He belongs with his own kind, and maybe he could be taught how to use his powers, which... No, Jim. I mean, under normal circumstances, and considering my last 2 Treknalysis videos, assuming his biological family isn't abusive and Charlie wants to live with them, sure, why not? But after the rampage he just went on, yeah, he's too comfortable with that power, and he's clearly going to be a danger to his family, not to mention the entire colony. Even though they did a bang-up job raising a psychopath, the Thasians are probably the only people who can handle Charlie. He's your problem now, folks!
I want to stay.
There are a million things in this universe you can have, and there are a million things you can't have.
Weirdly enough, though, they got rid of the little teenage terror, but the entire crew really looks sad. Even driven to tears? No, get that twerp off the ship. There's no crying in Starfleet. Let's get the hell out of here before they give him back. And that was Charlie X. For an early episode of the show, it's pretty on par with the rest of the series. It's the start of a trope that Trek returns to every so often, a child with fantastical powers that he misuses. Charlie X walked so the Squire of Gothos could, well, I don't know about run, but William Campbell was memorable in it.
Say, they make a perfectly exquisite display pair.
Now, I can appreciate the attempt to examine the difficulties of adolescence, and that discipline and guidance keeps a lot of those strange new emotions under control. It's not a bad lesson for teenage audience members. Heck, we see Kirk fumble his way through mentoring a teenager, probably not unlike a lot of parents whose kids just reached the teenage years for the first time. Despite the fantastical elements of the episode, there is some relatability in it. But is it done well? Probably not. Yes, even Picard, who has a dislike for spending time around children, handled Jono better than Kirk handled Charlie. Kirk was probably a little too willing to write off some of Charlie's bad behavior when he really needed to nip it in the bud early on, especially if Charlie was going to live with people and should know how to function in society. That being said, even with better guidance from Kirk, Charlie not going berserk was still a bit of a long shot. There's a villainous streak in Charlie that's shown from the beginning of the episode that I doubt would have been resolved in the trip to Colony 5. Charlie lacked discipline to master his powers and assimilate into human society. And I think the ultimate takeaway here is that with great power comes great responsibility. But power without responsibility gives you Charlie Evans.
With great power comes great responsibility.
Are you afraid that I'm gonna turn into some kind of criminal?
So what did you think of Charlie X? Did you love it? Did you hate it? What do you think of Kirk's handling Charlie? Did he do everything he could? Was he too inexperienced? Or was he just simply the wrong person for the job? And what are some of your favorite mentorship episodes of Star Trek? Be they successful or failed ones? Please leave comments below and discuss. As always, thanks for tuning in to another episode of Treknalysis. If you like what you see, why not give my video a like and subscribe to my channel? Tell your friends! Until next time...
Get out of my chair, Charlie, and get out of it now.